There's a term called gray divorce, and gray divorce refers to couples who divorce after age 50, and that's often after 20, 30, even 40 years of marriage. And here was the stat that blew me away. In 1990, fewer than 1 in 10 divorces involved someone over the age of 50, and today it's closer to 1 in 3. So that raises some very important questions, no matter how long you've been married. And so let me ask you, what do you think makes divorce happen more and more now with people later in life? And what do you think changes when kids leave, when schedules finally slow down? And if you're early in marriage, what do you think helps couples from getting there? And if you're already in that stage right now, what do you wish people understood about it?
So guys, let's talk about Grace divorce. More older couples are getting divorced now than ever before, and it's something people are calling gray divorce. We are talking about couples in their 50s, in their 60s, even 70s. People who have been married for decades suddenly deciding to go their separate ways. And honestly, this says a lot about the world today, because the idea of staying married forever, no matter what, is slowly changing. People want peace, happiness, and freedom even later in life. So in this video, let's talk about why gray divorce is increasing. We are going to be looking at people sharing their stories and their experiences and what it really means for marriage in today's world. So welcome to today's video. If you are new to this place, kindly subscribe to the channel, like the video, share, leave your thoughts in the comment section, and let's get right into the video.
60 to 70% of divorces are initiated by women after the age of 40. Let that hit you in the face. Women are straight up dumping their husbands once the kids are grown and the hormones start doing backflips and cartwheels. This is the latest data. Women initiate about 69% of divorces, and among couples over 50, that gray divorce, that number stays roughly the same, around 66 to 70%. And in many cases, men are blindsided while the woman was emotionally checked out long before the papers were filed. Why? Here's the brutal truth. The first reason is she is done with your If you stopped taking her on dates, stopped taking care of yourself, came home, grabbed the phone, cracked the beer, ate the chips, and zoned out on the game while she handled the house, the kids, the emotions, everything, she's over it. You became her roommate with a friggin' pulse. She's tired of being your maid and or your mom, and she knows that she deserves better. The second reason, if you married her at 22, what did you expect to happen 30 years later? She's a completely different person. New passions, new confidence, new boundaries. If you did not grow with her, if you stayed stuck in the same habits, you weren't improving yourself, your sex game went stale, you stopped being adventurous, she got bored. She evolved and you didn't. And she's not settling for that old version of you anymore. Third reason is menopause. That's the final straw. Her hormones flip, her tolerance crashes, every ignored problem explodes. And if you are not helping her level her hormones, she's gone. And the fourth reason, she's got her own money. She's also have her own friends and her own life, and you let her work like a man just like you. And then why would she depend on you anymore? She was a wife, a mom, and busting her ass, working full time every day for years. She carried it all. Now she's fried. No more staying for the kids or the mortgage. She's gone. Here's a little bit of more data for you. Post-divorce, only 27% of women regret it. Men, 39% do. So more women are happy that they chose to divorce versus the ones who didn't. And here's some instruction for you. Don't marry young and clueless. Date long, grow together, step up every day. Dates, effort, self-care, adventure, intimacy, and polarity. And communicate, evolve, talk, and be honest with her. Or watch her walk away once she hits 40.
So I'm 55, and I just left my husband of 28 years, and I should have left him 20 years ago. And I'm here to say that the minute you think it's time to leave, leave. Don't let it go 20 years. Don't let it go 20 years. Don't let it go 20 years.
Being single over 50 or 60 is the new black. Those of us who find ourselves single in our 50s and 60s, especially those of us who are coming out of very long marriages, the so-called gray divorce phenomenon, are just out here living happy, content, peaceful, active, engaged lives with pretty much zero interest in romantic love or dating apps. Here are 3 reasons why. Number 1, we've already done enough caretaking to last several lifetimes. We've set aside our own goals and needs. We've compromised to our own detriment. We've literally and figuratively been jumping up to save everybody else our whole lives. We have zero interest in doing this ever again for another grown-ass adult. Like, show me you can be on your own and take care of yourself, and then maybe we'll talk. Okay, number 2, we will never again be subject to someone else berating us, bullying us, judging us, coercing us, manipulating us, ever. Intimate relationships are supposed to be a safe space. And the comments that I read in my posts about being single over 60, are just like gut-wrenching and heartbreaking about the women who've experienced violation after violation of this, as you can imagine, over and over again. This is selfish, childish, and disrespectful behavior. It's just a hard no. And number 3, my unofficial survey of men my age is that 99.9% of them are just blithely unaware of their privilege, their cultural conditioning, the impact of their family dynamics, and are just perfectly happy to skate by the rest of their lives without any meaningful self-reflection. Honestly, this is just lazy and boring. And obviously, it's not that every man does this. It's just that so many of them do, and we're sick of the vetting process. We've come to realize that single life is a breath of fresh air. The autonomy and the self-determination are intoxicating. And from where we sit, partnering with a man of our generation just looks like a repeat of all of this nonsense. So we're just collectively saying, nope, we're good.
Gray divorce. Yes, it is kind of becoming an epidemic in the United States. It's basically defined as people over the age of 50 getting divorced. And I've had a number of people and friends going through this process. It stinks to watch, and it's really hard to give people advice, especially friends who, when you're friends with both the husband and the wife and they're looking to you for some advice on how to deal with it emotionally, physically, financially, it's a lot. All I can say is I think it gets easier once you're on the other side of it, but you also need to make sure, whether you're the man or the woman, that you are first thinking about what's fair to both, if there's any fairness in divorce, and also that you try to treat each other with respect. Obviously, if there's kids involved, that's very important. Also need to make sure that you're making the decisions that are in the best interest of you and your family and your future, because one of the challenges with the great divorce is you're also going to be going through, or maybe already have gone through, the major transition of retirement. So it's kind of a double whammy, and things get pretty challenging, let's say. All of this to say that I do have a guide to getting through divorce, gray divorce, that you can reach out to me for. And then if you need some financial guidance, I can connect you to some really good experts in divorce planning. And then on the emotional side, I have some resources also. So reach out to me. Here's to getting through a divorce as unscathed physically, financially, mentally as possible, and living your best life. Just had to share that as I finished recording that video about divorce, I got a text from one of my good friends saying that she and her husband are going to be celebrating their 40th wedding anniversary this coming winter. And that just made me smile, because after all, having a great marriage or even a good marriage is sometimes better than divorce. I guess it all depends on how bad your relationship is with the person that you're partnered up with. Anyway, that just made me smile, because there are some people that do make it and they're happy.
So many long-term marriages are ending. I don't believe that menopause causes what we call the gray divorce, but I do believe that it reveals what's already there. For many women, the hormonal shifts remove the emotional buffering that has helped them tolerate being unheard, carrying the relationship emotionally, ignoring unmet needs, and shrinking themselves to keep the peace. A lot of women, including myself, to be quite honest, you, I, we've tolerated a lot of that stuff. And now suddenly the question becomes, do I want to live the next 30 years of my life like this? And that question can sometimes be terrifying, but it can also be incredibly clarifying.
Hi, this is Beth, and I'm continuing to share my journey with you as a recently divorced woman after 42 years of marriage. I'm sharing my journey with you, my stories, in hopes that they inspire you. They may not work for you, but just know you're not alone in this at this age. My next story is about when I officially left. We had gone through counseling, we had been trying to talk, and I just didn't feel like we were getting anywhere. I knew at that point I needed to leave. I did not tell him. I packed up what I had in a car and I put in for a job transfer and I left. I moved about 4 states away. This worked for me. I moved into a furnished room in a condo where I had a roommate, and I stayed there until everything was finalized. When everything was finalized, I knew I needed to pick up the pieces of my life and move on. So I was waiting. There was a building that I liked, and when a condo came up in that, I put in an offer and it was accepted. So I was able to move into a condo. First time in my life I have ever been on my own. I got married at 19. I went from my parents' house into my husband's house, and that was it. So this is my first time being on my own. Scary and exciting all at the same time, but I'm making it. So I'm going to continue to share my journeys with you. I hope it inspires you. Please follow along, and remember, you are stronger than you know.
Isn't it wild when the person who you knew and loved for so many years just turns into a stranger practically overnight and you don't know who they are anymore? It's wild.
Started over at 55, not with a clear plan, not knowing all the answers, and I just had my faith, and I knew that I could no longer stay where I was. After nearly 3 decades in a very emotionally unhealthy marriage, I left clear that choosing myself was not selfish, clear that I needed peace. Starting over was very scary. But I knew that God had released me. I knew that He was with me, and I was able to move in fear, one decision at a time, one boundary at a time, one day at a time, 1 week at a time. And as I rebuilt, I met myself, like, for the first time. And I got to know myself, and I fell in love with myself. Not the version of me that was surviving, but the woman that God has called me to be. You are not behind. You are not too old, and it's certainly not too late to begin again. And you are not broken. You're becoming, and you don't have to do it alone.
Yeah, some comments I saw while I was putting these videos together, and guys, women are waking up. No woman wants to stay in a relationship where they have to keep training old men that have refused to be men. They just want to be children. They just want to be child all the days of their life. So one thing I keep noticing is that a lot of people stayed in marriages for years because that was what society expected them to do. Back then, you didn't just wake up and say you're not happy anymore. You stayed, you endured, you adjusted, even when things were not working. And now we are in a different time. People are living longer, people are thinking differently, and a lot of older folks are starting to ask themselves, do I really want to spend the rest of my life like this? Another thing is that women, especially, are not the same as before. Many women now have their own money, their own voice, their own independence, so they don't feel forced to stay in situations that make them unhappy. Please pardon my voice, I've got cold and it's really disturbing me. I also think social media plays a role in this. People see others starting over at 50, 60, even at 70, and they realize life doesn't just end at retirement. Some people feel like they still have time to be happy, but at the same time, great divorce is not easy at all. Imagine separating after 30 or 40 years together. Finances, family, grown children, grandkids. That kind of change is not small at all. Sometimes it's not even about cheating or big problems. Sometimes people just grow apart. The kids are grown, the house is quiet, and they realize they don't even know each other anymore. And let's be honest, the world today puts a lot of pressure on relationships, stress, bills, work, responsibilities. All these things can slowly break a marriage over time, even when people started out in love. Then that's why the rise in great divorce is really telling us something. It's showing that people today care more about peace of mind than just keeping up appearances. At the end of the day, the rise in great divorce really shows how much the world has changed. People are no longer willing to stay in situations just because society says they should. Even after 20, 30, or 40 years of marriage, some people are choosing peace, freedom, and happiness over staying where they don't feel fulfilled. And honestly, it's not always about selfishness like some people think. Sometimes it's about realizing that life is short and people don't want to spend the rest of their years feeling stuck, lonely, or unhappy. But at the same time, it also makes you think about how hard relationships have become in today's world. The pressure, the responsibilities, the expectations, all these things can slowly wear people down, even couples who once loved each other deeply. So the question now is not just why great divorce is increasing, it's whether marriage itself is changing in this generation, and if people today even see relationships the same way they used to. So, guys, let me know what you think about this, because this topic is a really deep one. Do you think people are giving up too easily, or do you think people are finally choosing themselves? Let me know all that in the comment section. And if you've watched up to this point, then it means you are the real MVP. Please do not forget to like the video, subscribe, share, leave your thoughts in the comment section, and I'm going to see you in the next one. Thank you so much, and peace out.